Yeah, I mean, I have a son now, and I always say I cannot imagine the world without America. I think with all its flaws that America has, still this country stands up for individual liberty.
Yeah.
And not many countries put a word in that. I think it's very interesting when North Korean try to attack me and try to assassinate my characters, right? Try to say I'm a human scum, I'm a trash, I'm a CIA spy. I mean, they're naming. I mean, that's the thing. They always like say, "Oh, she's trained by CIA to say this stuff." Always the CIA. Somehow, when are they calling me, right?
Yeah.
But one thing they made my relative to speak to denounce me. That was, oh, since when she was young, she was so individualistic. And that is the worst thing you can be in the communist country. You cannot be an individual because nobody allowed to become an individual, right? You're part of thing. Otherwise, you don't matter. And America, this country is so found upon the idea where individuals matter. Individual liberty comes above everything else. And I think people really don't understand when we stop respecting individuality, what happens to individuals. Because you don't matter anymore.
Where do you think is this optimal balance between individualism and, I don't really want to use the term collectivism, but kind of like community? Because
Yeah.
I think we all know that, we've, with the excesses of collectivism have manifested in many countries in many different ways. We've talked about that. I do also think, however, that one of the threats to the West in some ways is this individualism at all costs type of situation. When I say that, I don't even mean in terms of individual rights. I don't think in terms of rights. I think more in terms of like responsibility and a sense of duty or lack of. I think that people have become
Yeah.
so atomized, right, that they don't even, I mean, a lot of the big problems that are happening in the West and certainly in the USA are, family breakdown and,
Yeah.
so many children. I mean, the USA has more children, I believe, than any other country, without in single parent households.
Yeah.
And so many people are, I think a lot of the mental health problems and the rise of loneliness and the lack of companionship and things that people are feeling, all of these things seem to come, and I'd even say the silly elements of wokeness, like the obsession with
Yeah.
gender and the obsession with sexuality, and right, everyone wants to be so unique that they even have their own gender and their own sexuality and their own, right. It's like hyper individualism to the point
Yeah.
that it comes above reality itself, right? The truth doesn't even
Yeah.
matter now. It's your truth and my truth and his truth and
Yeah.
her truth and all of that. So to me, that's almost like this extreme expressive individualism, which, I guess is better than extreme collectivism. But I think there's a healthy balance that we can kind of come back to where, yeah, we absolutely respect the individual rights, individual freedoms and liberties, but we also encourage individuals to care about the greater society and family and community. And,
Right.
it's not just me, 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 me. This is my right to do this, my right to do that. So I can just do whatever I want and I don't care, because I don't think that's good for, I mean, we're seeing it's not good for individuals, and it's certainly not good for society as a whole when people aren't at least looking out for each other in some way.
Totally. I mean, I think as an immigrant, I'm sure you can see that when you go to a new country, when you find your home, you always debate how much do you let go and how much do you accept, right? And I had to do that. Like, how much of North Koreanness or South Koreanness am I gonna let go and then be American? And somewhere middle was always an optimal point for me. It's a right, like in America too. Like when I was at Columbia, my professor was saying that I can be a man, and there's no difference between man and me. And I was saying, well, our bone density is different, and our muscle like mass is different. And I have a uterus, I have ovaries that makes eggs, I have different hormone. Like there's actual biological difference between men and me. And she was like, who taught you that you're brainwashed to think that you cannot be a man? This is an Ivy League professor, right? So I'm like, I don't feel like a man, but like it's not about feeling. But at this point,
Yeah.
I think I had to study about the ideas of individual freedom. Again, I had to read a lot about original texts about what the founding fathers meant of being individual. You know, freedom comes with responsibility. So when like in the beginning when I was trying to become free and live free in South Korea, initially I thought freedom meant was like I can watch K-pop dramas, I can wear jeans, I can put on makeup as a younger, I can dye my hair because in North you cannot do any of those because those are like symbol of capitalism. And like wearing maybe like a skirt as a girl. And then as you graduate older and older, you realize freedom means a responsibility. It comes with a virtue. And what America has lost is that principles, that responsibility, that virtue, that what founding fathers meant. A lot of times back then, they derive that virtue from Christianity, right? Serving God, serving your nation, serving your family, be a good spouse, being a good role model, right? And don't be a vain, don't be prideful, be humble, and all of that has a little bit gone as we become more atheists. So I think it's not coming from being individualist society comes from. I think all the side effects that we see, people just shooting up the heroin on the street. In front of my child in New York City selling drugs, drug dealers selling drugs in this purple, like beautiful candy bags. And my son thinks somehow they're selling lollipop. It's extremely dangerous thing what they're doing. And that's not freedom, right? That's anarchy. I don't even know what to describe that. So I think that's why freedom comes with virtue and it comes with education and teach next generation what it means to be free. Freedom doesn't mean just you do whatever you want. Freedom comes with responsibility, principles, and you have to find a meaning in freedom too. Otherwise, the thing that we see in SF, New York, LA, in downtowns, and they call that freedom.
Yeah. Everything you've just said there sounds extremely sensible, and it sounds to me like common sense, and it sounds like it makes sense. So therefore, it is controversial.